I'm only going to do this because we mentioned the best players in the world, and his name wasn't brought up.
I got you.
So, obviously, before Kevin Durant came here, he was part of a dynasty in Golden State, and he's really taken on the leadership role of this team. I think everyone that has an IQ above 0 can figure that out. Now, does he ever credit directly Steph Curry, or is it kind of just something that people just go, oh, he learned from Steph how to draw people here? Because the Hampton boys are why Durant left OKC and left for us to go win a championship.
It was Draymond Green, first of all.
Andre Iguodala, Clay, and Steph. Yes, those are the Hampton boys.
It was Draymond Green. Those are facts.
Anyways, the Hampton boys. And Draymond's also the reason he left. Thank you.
He probably is, yes.
So, actually, that's a lie if you listen to that interview. He knew his mind was made up already. So, does he ever directly thank Steph Curry for the leadership knowledge he's learned, or is it just kind of a mere formality in the media world that Steph Curry is to get all this success?
You know, it's that it has to be a fan-driven thing, you know, because like the thing is with Kevin Durant, he's not gonna be the guy that says that like any other player, you know. And at the end of the day, too, I think with Kevin Durant, you know, and obviously covering this team for 2 years, and obviously since he's joined this team, and I've covered the team for 5 years, but at least like primarily with KD on this roster, you kind of get that feeling that Kevin Durant's he's all about just that love to hoop, right? I feel like that's just all he's been about this year, right? He's been one of those guys that's really like, you know, like I came back from a really serious injury. I'm producing well. You know,
MVP
he's always one of those
right now.
Guys. What'd you say? It's what?
Kevin Durant's probably the MVP of the league right now.
Right now, I'd say, yeah, of course. Yeah,
It's
and then
only
on top of
9
that, too,
games
Well,
like,
I'm just saying, I mean, if the season ended right now, Durant would be a unanimous MVP.
I don't know about
Unanimous.
unanimous.
it would be pretty, yeah. It would be pretty unanimous, put it that way, obviously.
Really? You
Look at
think
the
so?
other- It's tough because obviously, you know, with MVPs and everything, obviously we see with a lot of awards, you know, they don't really they don't really give all the grains of salt here to super teams with players on super teams, right? You've seen, obviously, I picked Luka Doncic to win the MVP because if he puts up sensational numbers and leads Dallas to the playoffs, that's his award to lose here, no matter how much Kevin Durant's averaging and how much whatever the case is. Because at the end of the day, if you looked at the Coach of the Year and other awards that went around, especially with MVP as well, all the voters taken into account, like media and fan, obviously it's split up between 50-50 and voting and stuff. But a lot of media guys also think they heavily weigh in value of who's on the team with them, right? Who's how many shots. And obviously with Kevin Durant, say he's playing with James Harden, Kyrie Irving comes back and he's still sensational. Hey, he should definitely win MVP, but at the end of the day, I feel like they would more so lean towards a guy like Doncic if he's putting up similar numbers and has less pieces around him, you know? It's one of those, it's a kind of a slippery slope. It's one of those type of things that you can't really have a foundation off of, you know? That's why everyone says, hey, did Shaq obviously get robbed of MVPs? Did Kobe get robbed of MVPs? Did LeBron get robbed of MVPs?
Yeah, we know LeBron has
those type of arguments.
Kobe's got 3.
Yeah, like, so you got all those. So overall, you know, if I had to pick an MVP vote today, it's going to be KD. But like I said before, getting back to the original question, you know, I think Kevin's at that point where he's just really happy to be back on the court again and hooping in a place that he really likes, and especially with teammates around him. Like, it's that type of kind of feeling around it.
And that was a joke to make the guy with the hat angry. It wasn't really.
No, it's not making me angry.
I sensed it. Come on, yeah.
If you listen to the show, I am not a big Steph Curry fan. Chris, when he came into the NBA from Davidson, I was a big Steph Curry fan. But what he does on and off the court and how he dances and how he makes himself out to be bigger than life, I don't like that about him as a player. And by the way, why is Kevin Durant going to compliment Steph Curry when he was the best player on the team? I wouldn't.
Steph was the most important.
No, he wasn't. If you watch the playoffs, Steph Curry is not a playoff player. Kevin Durant is a playoff player. LeBron James is a playoff player. Kyrie Irving is a playoff player. Steph Curry is not. He's a proven regular season player. He's a career playoff player. I think he averages 23 points.
He's streaky. Yeah.
He is not a playoff player. So, and who won the 2 MVPs when they won the championship when Kevin Durant was there? Kevin Durant. And who won the MVP when Kevin Durant wasn't there? Andre Iguodala. Did Steph Curry ever win an MVP as a playoff player? Never. So that just shows you what people think of him.
We've ever seen.
Because you talk about his 3-point shots. That's what he is.
I never mentioned his 3-point shots.
The greatest 3-point shooter
Offensively,
we've
he's
ever
a genius.
seen. Yeah. No, he's a great genius. Can't hit in the playoffs. Genius. That's why he left Steph Curry for Kyrie Irving.
And how's that working? How's that working for him?
Well, it's not working because Kyrie Irving right now is not playing. But I'll tell you this right now: if
He played last year.
if Kyrie Irving plays this year and he comes back, a lot of people are going to pick the Nets to win the championship because you look at Russell Westbrook, obviously Davis and LeBron. Obviously, that's a great three team, but they're new. Kyrie Irving and obviously Harden and Durant have played together. Very few, but they've been practicing in the offseason. They were practically neck and neck. Even after the Olympics, they've been training together. So I think they have a better chance of winning it because of that situation. But
never even mentioned the best
Chris,
team in the East.
Who?
The Miami Heat are going to win the East.
Really?
I think so.
That's a bold take. I like that though. I like what
Thank
the
you.
Heat did this year. I think Lowry's the most best pickup of the offseason. I'm a big believer on that.
And I think Jimmy Butler finishes second. I mean, he's having an MVP year too.
I think it's so early to even look at this.
Yeah, it's early. It's hard.
It is, but still, that's my.
I
really
usually
early.
start jotting down names by the game 30.
Yeah, that's what I say.
usually
30, 35 games. You kind of nip it on the butt. But I think the Knicks are positioned very, very. Look at Fournier. Fournier was a big pickup for the Knicks.
You're a Knicks guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
I'm a Knicks guy.
I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah, but I'm a Knicks guy. But look at the depth the Knicks are this year from what they.
Oh, I love what New York's doing right now.
But again, the Knicks don't have that number one player that you could say, I'm going to put it in his hands to win. Because we know Julius Randle can't do it in the playoffs. We've seen it.
That's not fair.
He can't do it.
It was one playoff series.
What are you talking about? Did you see him in a couple of, what was it? The other game, he couldn't hit 2 foul shots. Almost cost them a game against Bulls.
I
mean,
understand,
the guy can't hit a shot.
growing into it.
Growing into what? Can't
A
play in
leader.
front
He
of the
wasn't
fans?
a leader in L.A. and he wasn't a
He's
leader
a
in New
ball
Orleans.
hog. He's a Carmelo Anthony wannabe.
Well, you know what the Knicks are doing here. They're built, like I said before, they're building a culture and just waiting for that one star to come around.
Yep.
You know, that's what they need, and just build around like they did with KD.
I want Damian Lillard. That's who I want.
That's a hard task, though.
That is a hard task. But what were you going to say? I'm sorry, Chris.
I have no clue. I completely forgot. We were talking about Knicks and stuff,
but I
leave it to the Warriors and the Lakers to sidetrack us about the New York teams.
Chris, I will say this. I would love to get you on the show again. You're awesome.
course, brother.
You're awesome. You have some good takes. And I'll tell you this right now. Kyrie Irving is the secret to the Nets winning a championship this year. If Kyrie Irving comes back and he gets at least 20 games under his feet to get his feet wet, I think the Nets are going to have a very, very good chance if he's healthy. Because he wasn't healthy in the playoffs last year. Either was Harden. Okay? And that really affected him. And by the way, they need
if they were healthy, they would have won.
Absolutely.
They would have won the whole thing.
Yeah, it felt right for them. All they had to do was build more. They would have flew right past Phoenix. I think they would have crushed
Well,
Phoenix.
that's what it was. It was that winner of Milwaukee and Brooklyn. Whoever's going to win that's going to win the whole thing. Because at that
Absolutely.
point, the teams were bounced, and obviously with Phoenix, they were one of those teams that obviously they were young and built on continuity, but did they have enough to get past Milwaukee or Brooklyn, especially a healthy Brooklyn? I don't think about that. Plus, I was going to mention that as well when you guys were going back with Kyrie Irving. If he gets 20 games under his belt and they really know how to play with him, obviously becomes right back before the playoffs. It's going to be one hard of adjustment getting that in, especially when all the roles are solidified already. Because think about it, everyone in the backcourt has to take one step back. And just obviously, we saw what this team did with chemistry last year. We saw a lot of unselfish play. And that's probably what's going to happen when we see Kyrie Irving on the court for the first 15 games when he's back. But no, I agree with your points there.
I will say this before we let you go. And what I want to see from the Nets this year is continuity, and they need to find somebody at the trade deadline that can help them with rebounds. Because there is no way when the playoffs start, it becomes a half-court game. There is no way they're going to beat the Miami Heat in a 7-game series, the Milwaukee Bucks at 100%, even the New York Knicks with their big Nerlens Noel, who's one of the best rebounders in the league, and then Robinson if he can stay healthy. You smile. The Knicks are.
I didn't say a word.
No, you're
I don't
smiling.
know if they got. I wouldn't give New York
No, they don't have it. But
the lift there, yeah. You
No,
know,
but-
if the Nets and Knicks win in a playoff series, I would give the Nets in 5.
of course,
without
because they
question.
got the three. But if the Knicks get that superstar at the trade deadline, who knows what you're gonna bet on with that? And the Knicks are a good rebounding team, and that's
Yeah,
the
they're a
most
profile team.
That's
That's
the
what their
most
profile is.
important thing. And I think the playoffs, it's so important to have that rebounder. And I think the Nets need to find that guy because they don't have that guy in that lineup right now.
100%. I agree with that. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of turns out with New York, right? I think what they're going to do, I think that they'll have a quiet deadline. I think they'll probably have a couple little small moves, touch around the edges, right? And I think in the offseason, they'll really, I think the boys are going to go to work. I think that's what's going to happen.
I agree with you. They have money, and that's why Randall took less money.
Exactly. That's what you got to think about. They got a lot of cap space available.
But the Nets are the favorites to come out of the East. They're still the favorites as long as Kyrie Irving comes back. I worry about the Nets going later into the playoffs without that rebounding guy because they are not a good offensive rebounding team. It's a proven fact that they've had problems in that area.
Especially if James Harden struggles shooting like he has in the playoffs in the past. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of elements to it.
Well, I'd love to get you on as the season progresses. We'll talk more Nets basketball, and I want to bring on the Knicks guy and have you both on. We have an Islander and Ranger guy coming on.
Oh, okay. I'm getting into hockey a little bit. I got to support my Devils. I only know like one name, but it's $30 tickets. I'll probably.
You didn't have access to watch the 10 games the Islanders are allowed access to the Barclays? You didn't have privilege to sit through those dumpster fires?
The thing is, brother, Brooklyn's already a hard commute. I can't go to there to watch hockey.
I don't blame
you. I just can't do it.
I wouldn't watch the Islanders if you paid me to either.
The infrastructure was so bad for hockey as it was.
Well, I also heard that the Nets might be bringing the G League team over there to the new Islander Stadium over there at the what do they call that? The USB Arena, whatever.
The Belmont thing.
Yeah.
UBS.
Something like that.
I heard that they might be bringing their G League team over there, so that'll be interesting as well.
That'll be interesting. We'll see what happens.
Chris, why don't you tell the fans how they can find you on social media?
Yeah, sure thing. So you can find me at Milholen SB. The regular. You could look up my work at Nets Daily, netsdaily.com. I do social media for the Naismith Trophy as well, so that's the MVP of college basketball, similar to Wooden Awards. So you'll see a couple. Obviously, my name won't be on those, but those are like social media things I do out there. And just overall, a lot of my work's on Twitter. So Milholen SB. I go to all the Nets games, report on all the Nets games, Nets home games. And, you'll see a lot of coverage from me throughout the whole year on the Nets. So, like I said, guys, thank you for having me on. Definitely down to come on again. You got my connections right there to get me back on. Yeah, bring that next guy on. I'm down to do a little duo episode.
Absolutely. You follow us on Twitter, and we'll follow you. And Speedy loves your.
I don't follow you on Twitter yet.
I don't know. Speedy
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't remember.
All right, I'll follow you guys back.
When I try to book these guests, there's like 20 of them, so I don't remember who followed.
I feel you. Like I was such a mess when it came to
We're actually on the FM dial out here, and we're actually going to use this interview, cut it up, and use it as our interview of the week on our FM show on 103.9. So people will get to know you over here on the island.
Perfect. Sounds good, guys. Well, I'm you know me. I covered the G League for 2 years out there in Uniondale, so I know that community out there.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
Of course, guys. Let me know if you guys need anything from me in the meantime. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.